30-day challenge to reinvent your careers in 30 days. So exciting. We're almost at the end, and we have lots of wrap-up things we need to talk about as we go forward. This is Diane Huth, the Accidental Career Coach, and today we're going to talk about embracing the future. That's really scary for a lot of us in this crazy COVID-19 world. We don't know what the future is. But the important thing is when you gain this knowledge, when you gain skills, when you gain insights, it's not nearly as scary because you have tools and resources. Fear comes from not knowing. And so when you learn and you know, then you're not fearful. You're able to move forward. When we started this 29 days ago, most people were stuck in shock. They had no idea what was going on in their lives. They didn't know what was going to happen. They were afraid of dying. They're afraid of going bankrupt. They're afraid of everything. They're afraid to go out of their house. And today we know a lot more. We know a lot more science-wise about what's going on in the world. We know a lot more about ourselves. We know a lot more career-wise what's happening. And so I want to talk to you about embracing your future and that there are a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of job loss out there, and there's going to be more of it. But there's new job openings coming up all the time. And it may be in things that didn't even exist before or that we never considered, and that we can look at new opportunities because, oh my goodness, we had never even considered some things before. So I want you to think of this as a time of transformation, and you're doing the right thing by learning, by professional development, by studying, by gaining new insights, to gaining new skills, and that's going to let you pivot. And one of the new words that you need to know is pivot. Pivot means you don't lose momentum, you just go in a slightly different direction to get around an obstacle. We don't want you stopped in your tracks, because when you're stopped in your tracks, you're going to get run over, right? So if you've been going forward with your career, with job development, all of a sudden this craziness has happened, we don't want you to stop with your feet in the quicksand. We want you to pivot and look at other alternatives that are going to make it easier for you. The good news, the bad news is that because we are living longer as a society with all the science and development, you're going to work until you're 70 years old. That is the trend. The average life expectancy today is between 83 and 85. And so you're going to work much later than our grandparents did. We're going to work till you're 70. Pretty soon, Social Security is going to pay out full amounts as you get closer and closer to 70, because they can't support people for 15 years until the average age of 85. It's just not realistic. So we also can't sustain ourselves off of savings for more than 15 years. Most of us can't support ourselves off savings for 6 months. So it's really important that we embrace the fact that we're going to work a whole nother generation. We're going to work decades more than we thought when we started our careers. A lot of people said you're going to work for 30 years and get a gold watch. 50 years and there's no gold watch. You have to make your own gold watch, okay? So I want you to think about what's going to make this 50-year career of yours interesting, challenging, and exciting. And it may be that it's not the same thing that you've been doing. On average, Americans change careers, not jobs, careers, every 10 years. So in the past, you used to have 3 different careers. Now you might have 5. So after we do things for about 10 years, quite frankly, people get bored. You only are stimulated in your learning and putting down new memories when you're learning something. So if you've been doing something for 10 years, you're probably pretty bored with it by now, and you want to do something else, and that's just human nature. So I want you to think about what you would do with your time and talent and energies if money weren't an issue. So I want you to I want you to visualize this little visualization experience. You just come home from the convenience store. When you were there the last time, you bought a lottery ticket, and oh my God, they called the numbers, and it's your lottery ticket. Your ticket, they just called. And you look, and oh my God, you're going to win $10 million. That's going to set you up for the rest of your life. You won't need to work for the rest of your life. You're not so rich like Mark Cuban that you have to set up venture capital funds and manage businesses for the rest of your life. You have enough money to live comfortably and do whatever it is that you want. You can take care of your family. You can take care of your friends. You can take care of your school. You can take care of your charities, your church, your special foundations, and then you can do whatever makes your heart beat faster. So I want you to do a visualization exercise of what you're going to do the day that you win that $10 million lottery. Yay, you're so excited. I would be too, trust me. And then what you're going to do that first month. We know all the wonderful things. You're going to buy a new house. You're going to pay off your house. You're going to pay off your cars, buy a new car, give money to the kids, take them all for a vacation around the world whenever we can travel again. We're going to do fun things. We're going to reward ourselves and do things. But what are you going to do month 2 and then month 3 and month 4? All your friends are still working. They didn't win the lottery. Only you did. Your family members all, what are you going to do? You're going to sit at home. You're going to play golf every day. You're going to go to the beauty parlor every day. And month 5 and month 6 and month 7. And pretty soon maybe you're bored. It's wonderful to have resources. Wonderful to be able to take care of your family and your friends and the things you care about, but what are you going to do for you to stimulate your mind and your heart? And what are you going to do with all your talent and your time and your energies and caring? So I want you to think about, what would you dedicate your life to if money were not an issue and it wasn't so much money that you had to manage it all the time? If it just, money was gone out of the equation, you never had to worry about money again, you had enough to do whatever you want within reason, comfortably, what would you do? Would you start a charity? Would you start a new business? Would you set up a homeless center? Would you care for abused women? Would you set up a dog rescue? Would you set up a business that allowed you to play while you were doing what you wanted? Think about what your passions are, what makes your heart beat faster, and figure out what it would be if money were not an object. And where you'd live if you could live anywhere in the world and you didn't have to live near a job. And what your life would be like if you didn't have to get up every day and either work or walk into the living room and go to work in your home office. So I want you to start thinking, as we embrace the future and all the changes that are going to come, you don't have to do the same thing you've been doing for the past 20 years or 10 years or 5 years or 50 years. You can do something different and still be gainfully employed or still make a difference. So I want you to do some soul searching, because once you figure out what you would do if money were not an object, let's say you want to set up a performing arts ballet schools for little girls, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Or you want to set up a dog rescue. Fine, that's great. That's what you can do. So start working towards that goal now. You may have to work at a bank to pay the bills, but it doesn't mean you can't live that passion on a part-time basis, that you can't on the weekends, you can't volunteer for that charity, or you can't do a project, or you can't write grants for that charity, or you can't do something that has to do with furthering your long-term goals. So then, once you figure out what you'd like to do with your time, talents, and energies, start figuring out what you could do today to get closer to there. You don't have to have $1 million or $10 million. You can work on your day job and still find activities that you want to do. And then maybe you can figure out how to get paid for living your challenge. There are nonprofit organizations that pay people to run art centers and homeless centers and dog rescues. They don't pay an awful lot. But what could you do if money were not an issue? And I want you to try and take the money part out of the job part, because a lot of times we don't ask that painful question. We just know we got to get up, we got to pay the bills, we got to work, we got to get the money in the bank, we got to pay the mortgage, we got to do this, we got to do that. But just take this time and take a breath and said, if I had all the money that let me live comfortably, that money were not an issue in my life, what would I do with my time, talent, and energy? And then start finding a way to move closer to that life that you want. Maybe like me, you want to live on a white sandy beach. Maybe a white sandy beach makes your heartbeat faster. Got a secret for you. I moved to that white sandy beach 9 months ago, and I'm still right here with you working just like I was back there. But I was able to change my lifestyle to fit my passion. Okay? You can do that too and still be productive, still work for a living, still help others, still contribute and support your family. Do all the things that you've always wanted, but if you start to look differently and kind of dismember, this is what I do to get this amount of money, and they're stuck together, if you could kind of separate them and say, what do I want to spend? What do I want my legacy to be? I think you'll have a whole different approach, and this is the perfect time out in our life to do it. Okay. I want you to go inside the course. I'm going to post there an article about if I won the lottery today, and then I'll meet you back here tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to wrap things up, and we're going to talk about you and how you go forward. And the fact is that you are a brand, and I want you to start thinking about yourself like a brand, because we all represent an image that we want people. We have a message, and that's your brand message. So that's what we're going to wrap up tomorrow on day 30 of our challenge. And I will see you inside the course, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock talking about you and the fact that you are a brand. Take care. This is Diane Huth, the Accidental Career Coach, wishing you the best of career success. See you inside. Bye-bye.